Have you guys ever wanted to learn a little bit more about the characters in Punishing Gray Raven, but been a little bit too lazy to actually read the interlude for yourselves? Well, good news, today we're going to be jumping into the first part of Lucia's story, one in a 3-part series here, as we dive into more content about the story surrounding Punishing Gray Raven. So let's go ahead and get started. We are met by two younger girls, one named Luna and the other one named Lucia. We soon find out that Luna and Lucia seem to be living on their own and looking for anything they can to survive. Lucia is able to find a can of synthesized meat. Lucia offers the can of food to Luna to make sure her younger sister is fed first. Early on, we discover that Lucia has been going outside on hunts for food and other useful materials that the two can survive on. Luna has a strong urge to help her sister any way she can, and is visibly troubled by the fact that Lucia must risk her life to protect Luna and provide for her. Lucia reassures her sister by telling her that protecting the food is also a very important part of keeping the two alive. Soon the children hear people entering the hideout and decide to quickly hide. We then hear the pair of strangers talking about the army and what this place actually is. We soon discover that Luna and Lucia have been hiding in a church ran by Sister, a member of that church. After Luna gives away their position, Sister decides to take the two young ones in, rather reluctantly. The young girls have finally found a place that they can work for food instead of worrying about certain types of risks. All the other children in the church tell Luna how awesome Lucia is for her hard work in taking care of everyone. Luna is then asked if she can spare some food to the other children that are simply too weak and too cold to work, with the promise of returning the favor later on. Luna is hesitant but accepts. Lucia one day returns with a toy from outside that she thought Luna would like. Although Luna calls the toy ugly, she is grateful for the gift and tells Lucia that she'll sleep with it when Lucia comes back too late. Lucia decides to check the food supply to find that Luna has been lending some of the food to the other children. We find out the reason that Lucia has been home so late the last couple of days was because she was trying to stack up on food for the upcoming blizzard, which would cut off the food supply for a couple more days. Lucia then takes Luna to the hall to confront the kids that asked for the food, demanding that they return it at once. Out of the whole entire crowd, a little boy finally speaks up, telling them that they ate most of the food and that they simply cannot give it back. Lucia is stunned. She then turns towards the crowd begging for somebody to help her out. Not a single person makes a sound. Sister then showing up says that no one is to blame but them for lending the food in the first place, reminding them that there is no law here. Lucia and Luna go outside in search of more food, coming across some corrupted nearby. Lucia then whips into action, defeating them, with Luna in shock as this is her first time ever watching her older sister fight. After defeating the corrupted, a human soldier finds the two girls. We are then introduced to Nicola, who decides to take them back to the base for treatment and care. We then learn that the girls have a good chance of becoming constructs. Nicola informs the girls on what constructs are and even tells them about a place called Babylonia, a place untainted by the virus. After this meeting, the two young girls return to the church with tons of supplies, being questioned upon entering by Sister. Sister then reminds them to make sure to watch better over their supplies this time, again, as there is no law here. Right before bed, Lucia and Luna discuss the idea of becoming constructs and what living in Babylonia would look like for them. Lucia goes on to explain why it would be better for her to become a construct and deal with the risk instead of Luna. Luna, struggling to stay awake, ends up falling asleep dreaming of hot baths. Lucia then follows swiftly after. Lucia then wakes up to find that Luna is missing. Rushing around the hall asking everybody, where could my sister be? Where is Luna? Somebody actually tells her that she went away with some people in black. Rushing outside to find her, Lucia runs into more corrupted. She's able to fight off most of them, but ends up falling to her knees, but is found by the human soldiers once again. Brought back to the base, Nicola explains to Lucia that Luna had failed, becoming a construct and was processed and disposed of. Nicola going on to say that Luna had been corrupted during the final stages of her experiment and had to be taken care of. Lucia falling into a ball of tears and emotions over the loss of her sister. The screen fades to black. We then cut to the moment that Luna had been taken to serve as a construct. Luna thinks to herself she needs to do this in order to repay Lucia for all the hard work that she's done and for protecting Luna this entire time. Luna decides to leave the frog plushie for Lucia in case she gets lonely and needs somebody to sleep with. This concludes the first part of Lucia's story.